Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Soda Guys Cup Series. We're already into racing. We're on lap number 3. Sorry for the delay, but it's going to be a long race here at Dover. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Michael Norman. And Michael, you got to watch the first couple of laps. What's been going on out there?
Oh, it's been crazy racing out here. We've got battle for positions. The 0-0 of Caden Rush started on the pole, and he has not looked back since. The 24, Vincent Arthur, has just dropped to the 3rd position, making room for Richard Regan Jr. here. And he is the winner of the Xfinity race from the other night, so I'm looking for him. He's already got a run on the leader, and he's just kind of looking for a place to pass.
Yeah, that 17 machine, like you said, was racing last night in the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series and decided to put on a show, running the 21 last night, the 17 tonight, and now try and take the point here as we're coming to lap number 6.
Man, he's looking to pick up right where he left off that Xfinity race, side by side. Here, the 0-0 still led that lap thanks to the outside run. It's a little hard to pass on the inside because if that car on the outside can keep up the run, 0-0 just tapped the wall a little bit there. But if the outside lane can stay with you, the outside could get the run off the corner.
And just like that, Richard Reagan Jr. up front on lap number 6, going on to lap number 7. And Michael, it's going to be a long one here. Like I said, 194 laps to go. We're running 200 laps here at Dover, and it's going to be tricky. I mean, last night we saw cars slipping and sliding everywhere, and we're expecting to see that to continue here tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I have personal experience running this racetrack with the Xfinity car, which I'm sure is probably no different than the Cup car here. You can really push it into these corners, but the only problem is, one, that'll wear out your tires after a while, and two, if you pick up the gas just a little too early, you'll find yourself into the wall in no time.
Now, Caden Rush, one of the drivers we've seen be dominant at the road courses, is that Vincent Arthur almost went for a ride, and he's looking to have a great day today as he's right on the edge of the bubble on getting into the top 16. He's actually inside the bubble by 1 point over his teammate of the 9 machine of Piscota. So the 24 machine of Vincent Arthur looking for a great day, but Piscota still right behind, back in 5th place.
Absolutely, you're keeping an eye on him. You got Boyd Hogan, who's also up here. He just broke the top 5. He is now in the 4th position. He's slowly working his way up here. Looking at Joseph Piscota, like you said, he's now in 5th place, working his way up there. Larry Reed started 2nd in this race. Very surprising qualifying position for that machine. He's holding it now in the 6th position. We have a battle for 7th place between Ty McWhorter and Dalton Collins.
Dalton Collins, who's trying to have some great finishes to finish off this regular season. He's only got this race and then next week at Daytona to put himself in a points position where his win that he got earlier in the season, where it will count to put him into the playoffs. So that 27 machine looking to have a more comfortable day today, running 7th at the moment.
Back up, we have a battle for, this is the 2nd position there. Vincent Arthur trying to look underneath Caden Rush, but Caden able to close the door. As you can see, Caden drifts up through the turn, and that gives the run to Vincent, but Vincent just really no place to take it.
No, not a lot of space to work here at Dover. It's more of a, hey, if you cannot get under the car in the middle, entering the corner, most likely you're going to be stuck behind him off of exit until the middle of the straightaway when he can finally make that move like we're seeing here. Vincent Arthur is trying to make a move. He's just catching the 0-0 at bad times. Up too high. Here comes Boyd Hogan now trying to steal that 3rd position from Arthur.
Yep, and just a little mistake like that's going to cost you big time. You've got to get the run off the corner down the straightaway enough to be able to pull to the inside. If you catch him just like he's doing right there to the inside, he really got a good run off the corner. You've got to be careful. Not only can you find yourself in the wall, but if you pick the throttle back up full before you're even off the corner, that car will get sideways on you.
It's going to get slick and sideways, and Vincent Arthur still stuck behind Caden Rush. And with these drivers being this close to one another and the hard way they're racing so hard, that gap to our leader is just gapping more and more. And here comes Boyd Hogan now trying to get under the 24.
The 24 made a little mistake in turns 1 and 2 when he clipped the apron, and that pushed his car up the track just a little bit for Boyd Hogan to get a good run on him. Going through
Oh, car already in the pits. That's going to be the 20 machine of Chris Hansen. Who that looks like an unscheduled stop for the 20 machine.
There is damage on the driver's side of that machine. I wonder if maybe he had hit the... Oh, yeah, he had an incident on the front straightaway. Cubs battling side by side with the 8 machine of Chris Noble. Made a little contact, and he went right into the inside wall.
And Boyd Hogan able to get by Vincent Arthur, and you're seeing now right on the front bumper, on the back bumper, I should say, the 00 of Caden Rush, who's under a lot of pressure now. And like I was saying before we saw the 20 machine go in the pits, is that gap from first to second, almost 2.5 seconds. Richard Reagan Jr. is just pulling away, and no one's challenging him at the moment.
Yep, and there goes Boyd Hogan, who's now going to take sole possession of second place. Vincent Arthur with another good run, but can't quite take it.
As we're seeing this action up front, I mean, it's close, battling hard. I mean, this is probably the best action here on course, but at the same time, there's other battles throughout the rest of the field as Vincent Arthur got close to the outside wall.
And not only that, he got real loose off that corner. Just a lot of counter steer to try to stay off the wall. Your car, man, it can get real upset at this racetrack. You know, it's all about throttle control. You gotta control the throttle, pick it up when you can. You know, if you pick it up too early, you're gonna find yourself in the wall. If you pick it up too much, you're gonna find yourself sliding sideways off these corners.
And now I was gonna say this is the second to last race of the regular season. Next week's gonna be at Daytona, where a lot of these drivers that are outside of the top 16 are looking to get a win to get into the playoffs. But Piscota and Arthur are really the only 2 drivers that can point their way in if we don't see someone else outside of the points win and get inside.
We have a wreck in the back, that 2-car wreck, and that should bring out the caution. I was just watching this. It is the 10 of Cody Jordan, and it is the 3-car of
Greg Newsom.
Greg Newsom, well, not matching up with this in-game, with the number that they give him in-game here. That was a little, and that right in front of the leaders as well.
As they were coming up hard onto these guys, we're going to see exactly what happened here. It looked like Newsom got into the car in front of him. What number is that exactly? But this driver is racing extremely difficult and hard here, coming out of turn number 2.
Absolutely. I believe that was the 8 machine you're thinking of.
Yeah, that was the 8. And then you saw of Newsom almost getting to the 8, backed out, and Cody Jordan had nowhere to go, runs into Newsom, and a caution is made between those drivers. It's kind of a racing incident that you usually see when they're just racing hard up front, and contact was made between those drivers.
Cars coming down pit road now. 1 car staying out. It looks to be the number 11 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. He's going to stay out this time and lead a lap. That's some crucial bonus points.
Yeah, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, someone who we've documented, is leading in the points at the moment. Just a great regular season for that 11 machine. Been out here every single race and just having solid finishes every week, as he's been battling it out with the 22 machine of Chad Gunsman. And those drivers has been having a great duel, but last couple of weeks, Gunsman's been having some rough times and has lost a lot of points on the 11. So it's looking like Butcher Benjamin is going to be getting that regular season bonus point for being the champion of the regular season.
Absolutely. We saw the 27 on pit road overshot his pit stall, had to back up, so that cost him some precious time, as we're going to wait and see if the number 11 will be pitting this time.
As drivers are coming out of the pits, and looks like, yeah, he came in, got that bonus point, and driving back into the pits. Also, Greg Newsom going to be pulling in as well, which is going to be gifting the league to Richard Reagan Jr. in that 17 machine. And Michael, we saw the battling going on for second place, and they were battling hard, but they were battling so much that they just let the 17 go. Is that something to be expected here at Dover? Because it looks so difficult to make a pass on second place.
Early on in the race, you're going to see a lot of passing people trying to feel out their race cars and seeing what they can do when they get a good run. 17 car with nobody to battle, Clean Air, was able to just pull away because all he had to do was worry about hitting his marks. So, being a leader pulling away like that, we'll see how it is on the restart here. But we could boil down to that, people being not really being patient and just kind of trying to make moves and get up to as better of a position as they possibly can.
And as these drivers are getting prepared for Daytona next week, I mean, that super speedway racing is a wild way to finish off a regular season, because it's such a wild card to see who will make it into the playoffs. But I still have today's race at Dover and 200 laps. That's a long race. Last night we saw 180 laps for the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series, and tonight for the Soda guys, they get to be running 200 with just an extra 20 laps. We were seeing last night with cars slipping and sliding, Michael, and it seems like it's slightly continuing on to this race. How difficult as a racer is it to continue to stay focused when you're just sliding every single lap?
It's real difficult because you're focused on trying to hit your marks. And when just even with that, with a car in front of you, it's hard to do that because you got to watch out for him. The car in front of you could have a different let-off point than you do, and you could just run to the back of him on accident. So it makes it harder to focus when you got cars around you rather than being on your own. And slipping and sliding like that, trying to catch the person in front of you or stay ahead of the person that you're racing, it just makes it that much harder.
It's gonna be it's gonna be a mental game for sure for most of these drivers all race long. Like we said, 200 laps. The fuel run that these drivers are going to be working on is about 65 to about 72 laps is the furthest they can really go. But for some drivers, they might be thinking about the window of 48 to 61 laps on fuel and tires if we were staying green for the whole entire section of this race. But with this caution coming out so early, drivers already came in, took tires. They only have 5 sets to work with this race. So they had the set that they worked on, and then they had 4 other sets to work with throughout this race. The strategy for these drivers is going to be insane.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty sure that these drivers only have 3 sets left now, and so it's going to be very weird to see how this is going to play out. If we don't get any more cautions, then obviously we'll see them come down pit road probably around lap 80, if I had to guess. But like you said, just because the fuel mileage is that long doesn't mean the tire mileage is that long either.
Yeah, these drivers, most of them are trying to set up it's an open setup league, so they're setting up their cars for the long run, but others might be thinking of the short run. And I thought maybe that's the way the 17 cars was hooked up, was for the short run, but after just about 20 laps, still is pulling away from the rest of the group. We'll have to wait and see if we can get another long green flag run and see if Boyd Hogan, after getting by the 00, is able to continue going forward, which, speaking of the 00, of Rush, he's all the way back in 16th position, lost a lot of time on pit road.
Yeah, like you said, just one little mistake, and that's all it's going to cost you. But let's see, we got the pace car lights are out. They're getting ready to come back to the green flag. 2 Fords, a Chevy, another Ford, and another Chevy make up your top 5 as we get back to green flag racing here at Dover.
Green flag back out in the air. Richard Riggin Jr. leading the way, and a fantastic start on his part. Almost a 4-car length gap that he put onto the 24 of Vincent Arthur. And Boyd Hogan on the outside did not get going at all.
The toughest part about a restart here, especially in iRacing, is that you're allowed, as soon as that pace car pulls off, you are allowed to go. So it makes it real difficult for the person in the outside lane to choose. Or not to choose, but to time it just right to get a good restart.
As our leaders are inching closer and closer, here comes Vincent Arthur on the back bumper of the 17. Richard Reagan Jr. might have felt confident on that last run, but we had a pit stop that allowed these drivers to make some adjustments on their machines to hook it up just a little bit better. And I think Vincent Arthur made the right adjustments, because that 24 car is a rocket ship right now.
There he goes. He's going to slide up just that little bit. He's going to take the racing lead down the back straightaway, but don't count that 17 out.
Gonna possibly try a crossover move, but in others, it might not have worked out for the 17, who looks like he's struggling at the moment. Might be deciding, hey, let's try to set this car up for the long run, because he is losing on time on the 24, and here comes the 2 of Boyd Hogan as well, behind the 17.
Yeah, when you get behind somebody, we'll now see what that car can do in dirty air. But you can really tell he is struggling now. He is not hitting his marks the same way he did when he started to pull away. So we'll see if Boyd Hogan can actually catch him and maybe get around him and see if he can't compete with the 24 before the 24 starts to run away.
And as these drivers are battling up, there's also a battle going back in the 12th position where you've got a cluster of 3 machines all on top of one another. You've got Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Ryan Strunk, and James Love. I'm just struggling, man. There's so much action all over the place. You got up front, back here, and they're all starting to get single filed up now as Justin Carey back in his 15th position following all these 3 machines.
Yeah, we're looking here through the racing field here, just keeping an eye on things around here. Like he said, Taylor Butcher Benjamin just up here in the 12th position. The 88 just had a really good moment off of turn number 4 there. James Love, he was loving looking at the inside of that wall. So that's what he was doing.
Well, we talked about Caden Rush starting back in 16th. He's already up to 10th place. And now as John Mullins in front of him, and we'll see if the 00 can get back up front. Speaking of up front, we're going to move back up there because it's now back to a 3-horse battle. Richard Reagan Jr. has finally started hitting his mark because he is right on the back bumper of the 24 machine.
Absolutely, getting back up here. Yep, it is this 3-car battle. It probably takes a couple laps or so for the 17's car to come to him, and it looks like that's what's going to happen, able to just keep it going and hit his marks. You know, I personally, as a driver, I find it better to run behind somebody because you can actually see where they're picking the throttle back up and learn how to drive the track the way they do when you're behind somebody, as he's officially made the pass for the lead.
Officially makes it, and now watching the cars behind as everyone is feeling so comfortable so far for these top 3 because they're pulling away from the rest of the field. I mean, the car in 4th place is going to be the 9 machine of Piscota, and he's kind of in his own world with a little small gap between himself and Larry Reed, who's dropped back to 5th place, and makes you question, what are these top 3 cars doing so differently from the rest of the field, because they just continue to pull away.
They're not saving. I think the rest of these drivers are trying to be conservative, but these guys up here, they're just trying to battle. See, the 17, I guess the 17 has a good long run because once his tires came in, he was able to catch back up and pass the 24. Now he's pulling away to probably, what is it, about a half a second now?
Yeah, a little over half a second at the moment for Richard Reagan Jr. between himself and Vincent Arthur for 2nd place. But Richard Reagan Jr., yeah, once they were about 10 or 11 laps into these tires, that 17 car just started to hit another gear compared to everyone else. And now it's just a battle for 2nd. Other battles that are going on track, we're going to drop back to the battle for 6th place, where you've got Ty McWhorter and Dalton Collins on top of one another. And Dalton Collins, we documented it earlier, just looking to get a top 5 finish to continue to get points that will get him inching closer and closer to possibly making the playoffs. He already has a win. Now his goal is to have enough points and be high enough in the standings to be battling for the cars up front. As we're actually going to move further in front of them, as it looks like lap traffic now being an issue for Larry Reed, as getting by Greg Newsom in the 3 machine.
Yep, and they're also getting by the number 22 now of I can't say that last name, and I really don't want to butcher it.
Chad Gunsman.
Yeah, that I'll just call him Chad.
Chad in the 22. You got to give credit to the Chad for being out here, running on the Penske team and doing a great job in the 22. 2nd in points for the regular season, and looking solid to already have pointed his way into the playoffs. As we're watching this battle for 2nd place, Boyd Hogan still in the back bumper of the 24. And you said that these guys are pushing. Boyd Hogan is in such an interesting situation because it looks like he's quick, but he's just not quick. He's quicker than the rest of the field behind him. But the 2 cars in front of him just are just a step above where Boyd Hogan, where we're used to seeing him.
Yeah, absolutely. They're trying. Boyd Hogan hanging out back here. He's starting to lose a little bit of position. They're coming up on, I believe that is they're still the 17. The caution is out. Caution flag is out. Looking to see if I can find
Justin Carey. Justin Carey and the 21 machine having issues. As we'll go back and see exactly what happened to him. It looked like he was running down and doing a good job running in the top 15.
Oh, he just got loose off the corner and slammed the inside wall.
And it's so difficult. I mean, this track is so narrow. Luckily, did not make any more contact with anyone else. But with this track being so narrow, it puts yourself in a tricky situation of you're not really able to save your machine at all if you get into a spin on the back stretch or the front stretch.
All right, that's another 20-lap run, and it looks like these drivers are coming back down pit road.
That is a interesting thing to. I'm questioning. Some of them have to be staying out, right? Someone has to be that driver, and right now, it looks like the 42 of Tom Drayling is going to be staying out, possibly just trying to lead a lap here. Other drivers that will be staying out at the moment, you got Chaz Gunsman, Cody Jordan, and Greg Newsom are going to be also out because of trying to get their lap back. Believe Gunsman will be the lucky dog receiver of the race right now.
Gonna wait and see what the 17 car is gonna drive it off pit lane there.
And that looked like a normal time for himself.
Yep. The
real
quick. The number 10 car was given an EOL penalty.
Oh no, the 10 machine of Cody Jordan given that EOL penalty there.
I heard you go, ooh, what was
I believe the 11 of Butcher Benjamin is going to be going with a fuel only stop there. And then another driver back about 14th. I think that's Ryan Strunk that went for a 2-tire stop. So different strategies from cars that are scattered throughout the field, as the 11 machine is in 6th and Ryan Strunk is in 14th. But might as well try something different, because our top 3 are just going to be wicked quick. And if you have any chance of getting in front of them, possibly saving your tires is your best option.
Yep, the 11 car just confirmed that he did take fuel only, told everybody to be careful on the restart. So some interesting strategies and trying to save tires for the end.
Yeah, I mean, when you're about 10 laps into a run, you're almost running a half a second slower than what your best lap time is. So with being over 20 laps, the 11 of Butcher Benjamin's going to be in a very tricky situation of trying to make sure he doesn't get ran over. And the difference really is in the center of the corner, where you'll see the drivers have a lot more grip so they can carry more speed through the center, and getting off of the exit of the corner is also a pretty a dangerous spot for a driver that's fresh tires versus old. So I'm imagining the 11's just going to let people go on by, but this is a strategy to try to save tires for the long run here and have an advantage against all these other drivers that have already made 2 stops and used 2 sets of tires. They've only got 2 sets left. I don't know how they're supposed to save this many tires to the end unless something was changed.
Yeah. They're going to end up trying. They're hoping that they can get a good long green flag run, but I guess these drivers just really want the fresh rubber for these restarts.
I mean, they still have enough tires if they go green from here to the end to make it on another, I believe, 2 stops. So these drivers should be good to make it to the end. It's just got to be a tad close.
Yeah, it will be.
Well, Michael, how are we're only about a quarter of the way through into this race. Is there anything that's been surprising to you so far watching these guys?
Oh, just the 17 car and how good of a car he's had. That's been the biggest surprise here. I figured coming out and winning the Xfinity race is one thing, but to jump in a Cup Series car and go out and race and lead as many laps as he's been leading, that's been a big surprise to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of something that we've seen throughout the season of drivers that have tried out the National Series, being a sub driver down there and then coming back up the next day because you've ran the same tracks most of the time, and having that experience and getting a little bit more information of the track and how you want to tire strategies or fuel strategy runs. most of the time that those drivers come back the next day here for the Soda Guys series, they've got an idea of how to run up front, and usually they finish in the top 10, if not the top 5, sometimes even winning it. And Richard Reagan Jr. looking like someone that possibly could win it. The lights are out on the pace car. We'll be going this time by. And right now, Boyd Hogan deciding I'm going to be running the apron at the moment for that 2 machine.
Yep, good way to save fuel, I guess, unless he just needed to get away from the drivers for a quick second. But we're going to be going back green flag racing here, and it's going to be on lap 49 of 200, so it's still got a long way to go.
Yeah, Richard Reagan Jr. has 1 win this season, looking for his 2nd, for more bonus points going into the playoffs. Playoff bonus points are huge for the start of the round, because if you have enough bonus points, you can have an off week and really still be set up to make it to the next stage in the playoffs. So every driver that already has a win looking to get more bonus points. The pace car rolls off. We'll wait and see if Richard Reagan Jr. can get another win here this season, or if someone else will, as we're back under green. Another fantastic start, I should say, for the 17, and now it's Boyd Hogan who is following suit on that inside line.
The 11 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin, he said he's only got the fuel only, so he's staying up on the outside, letting cars go by as they're slicing and dicing down the back straightaway.
Yeah, he started back and forth already, dropping back to 9th place for the 11, so trying to stay out of everyone's way, and will continue to do so as they'll be dropping back and just waiting for another early caution to possibly, if we do go on a long green flag run, I mean, the 11's going to have to come in sooner than everyone else.
Yeah, for tires mainly, but look at Boyd Hogan right on the back bumper of the 17 car. He's going to take it to the inside. Oh, maybe not. He thought better of it and backed off.
Yeah, it's looking like deja vu on that last restart, because we saw Richard Reagan Jr. lose the lead to that time was to the 24 of Vincent Arthur, and then around 11 laps into a run, he came back coming quick, but an overshot turn number 3, losing the lead, giving it to Boyd Hogan.
He lost momentum, but he didn't lose too much of it. He's still kind of right on the back bumper of the 2. Remember, takes a couple of laps for that 17 to really kick in, so we'll have to wait and see now that Boyd Hogan is the race leader.
Boyd Hogan in the 2, 9 wins this season, looking to go double digits, as he will want more bonus points to set himself up. I mean, a fantastic run so far. Already has 27 playoff bonus points to work with going into the playoffs. Crazy number to think about, because that's almost enough points to miss a complete race if you go into that first round. Looking back, we were talking about the 0-0 back on our first caution. He dropped all the way back to 16th after a bad restart, after a bad pit stop. That 0-0 of Caden Rush already up to 4th, but he is a second back from our top 3. We'll see if he's able to get back up there, but Richard Reagan Jr. around the same time that we saw on that last restart, he's coming back with a head of steam, 10 laps on these tires, and now it's on the back bumper of Boyd Hogan wanting to take that lead back.
Actually, it's been about 6 laps or so on these tires, and he's still, like you said, right on the back bumper. It takes about 5 to 6 laps for that car to come in. We'll see what he can do. Last time he was able to kind of just pull up and drive away. This time it's a little, he's struggling just a little bit there. It must be the dirty air coming off of these cars.
Dirty air, and this is also the first time we've really had Boyd Hogan having some type of fresh air to work with for this 2 machine, so good to see that he actually is able to hold off the 17 at the moment, but for how long is the real question, as these drivers are right on top of one another. Other battles on track is the battle for 5th place, where we've got the 9 of Piscota trying to make a pass on Larry Reed, and Piscota needs to make this pass if he wants to stay closer and closer to Vincent Arthur, being only 1 point back entering this race. Where they're running now would fall a couple of points back even further, but still in striking distance to point his way in, unless someone outside of the bubble of our top 16 win today.
Yeah, absolutely. These cars are single filed out now. We're not really in any threat of an accident happening in terms of contact, unless somebody gets loose off of a corner, so that is a good sign for at least a green flag run here for these drivers to really see how their cars are going to be later, hopefully more than 20 laps into a run here, as they're already approaching lap traffic.
And on screen, you saw that puff of smoke. That was actually going to be the double zero of Caden Rush having a little bit of blinking issues. That's why that puff of smoke was there. But on board with Piscota, still trying to get by Larry Reed. And Reed's been having an interesting season, as he's had a lot of races where he's had a fast car, and then other races he doesn't. But when he has a quick machine, he runs out front in the top 5 most of the time and then fades off by the midpoint or even by the end of the race. And hoping to see Larry Reed come with a nice solid finish here today, hopefully a top 10, top 5 finish. As you can already tell, a very quick machine that he's got under himself.
Absolutely. Keeping an eye on the back bumper here. We got more smoke. I believe that's the double zero again. Kind of all by himself right now, so not a real threat to anybody with the blinking issues. Just running his own race. Back up at the front, Boyd Hogan is up to about a 0.4 of a second lead over second place, Richard Reagan Jr.
Yeah, Richard Reagan Jr. has not been able to run down the 2 anymore. Got to the back bumper, about 0.2 away from making the pass, and then lost all that head of steam that he had. And you got to wonder, maybe it's just a quick 5-lap window that this 17 has to make the pass. And maybe also, you got to think Boyd Hogan had to have made an adjustment to realize, hey, I cannot lose the 17 like we've been doing. Getting by more lap traffic is the 2 machine.
17 had a moment off of turn number 2 there. Really bad place to catch a lap car is that you don't really want to catch them off of the corner, because that takes you off your line and it doesn't set you up good for the next.
Almost same exact thing happened to the 24 machine of Vincent Arthur, as he was trying to get under lap machine as well, coming out of 4th. And I gotta say, it's been great racing overall all season long. Looking at some of the drivers and where some passes are going on, we're actually going to drop back to a challenge that's going on in front of the 88 car. John Mullins getting past. Actually, I take that back. That is not John Mullins getting past. That is going to be Tom Drailing getting past some lap machines. Caution to the back. Ryan Strunk had some issues, and we'll have to take a look and see what happened to the 77 to have him spinning around and facing the wrong way here.
He's already back on pit road getting a tow. Let's see, he made contact with the wall and then made contact with the double zero, and then he made contact with the 32 machine. So that's a very tough break for Larry Reed, who has a lot of damage from that.
Larry Reed, I mean, I've talked about his miss. He just doesn't have the luck that he's really needed to finish out these races, and continues to have bad luck. Contact there with Ryan Strunk, and we'll go back and see from Larry Reed's perspective on that incident.
I blame you because you talked about him. It's the commentator's curse.
It really is. I'm so sorry, Larry. I was hoping for a great run for you. As Larry Reed, you see coming down the front stretch, seeing the cars bobbing and weaving, open for the best, just not able to get high enough and contact with the 77. But Michael, here's the interesting thing. Every caution we've seen drivers coming into the pits. What's going to happen this time for our leaders? Will they come in or will they stay out?
They have not come in this time at all. Pits were open last time by, and not one of them came in pit road.
Drivers that did, that I'm not surprised to see leading the charge. The 11 machine is actually coming in, and that's going to be Taylor Benjamin. I always have a tricky, I need to do like exercises to make sure I don't mess up his name. But Butcher Benjamin going to be leading the charge of cars coming into the pits, as well as Dalton Collins. So those 2 machines, something to watch out for, as well as Tim Williams.
Absolutely. Oh, he said something about, I believe the 77 said he had a little bit of mechanical issues. I guess his steering wheel came loose.
That is something that is possible to happen. I've heard and seen a lot of stories of drivers where it's either their wheel that they're using right now, has a malfunction, pedals have malfunctions, or even monitors will just turn off on some drivers. So wild things going on for some of these drivers. Chris Noble, I should say, pulling into the pits now in that 8 machine. Probably expecting a lot more drivers to come into the pits for him to get a lap led, but instead coming into the pits. Actually, I take that back. I believe Noble was the free pass machine in the gate.
Yeah. First car lap down. He should now be back onto the lead lap. It's either him, Chris Noble, or it's going to be a Cody Jordan in the 10 car.
Looking at the time that these drivers have this caution and the drivers that are pitting right now, this is around the marker that they were thinking about making their first pit stop if we were going green this whole entire race. So first pit stop, and for drivers that were thinking about making this originally a 2 to a 3 pit stop window, a lot of these drivers still only have 2 tires to work with. So interested to see how the tire situation continues on, because I wouldn't imagine a lot of these drivers that think about pitting for tires probably not for another 20 to 30 laps. So go for another run. Let's see how things go there. But imagining to see the 27 and the 11 hard charging through the field like nothing, with them having such fresher tires than everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we are still under pace laps, and we've gotten past the quarter marker. And right now, leading the way, Boyd Hogan in the Soda Guys series. We're going to take a quick step back, and we'll be back to the action once the green flag waves. And we are back to the action. Pace car lights are off as we're on the backstretch right now. Boyd Hogan leading the way with Richard Reagan Jr. in the 17 and Caden Rush in third. Caden Rush, our pole sitter, has been slowly working his way back after our first caution of the day. He was only back at 16th at one time, now back up to third. Excited to see if the 00 has made an adjustment to fix that car up so he can stay up with our top 3. Or if he'll drop back, but time will tell as the pace car rolls up. Boyd Hogan on the outside. We'll see if it can pull the 00 with them. As we get underway, green flag back into the air as we're coming to lap number 71. Boyd Hogan leading the charge and doing a great job as he is now getting by. Caden Rush, though, who I thought was at least going to stay for third, dropped all the way back to 4th place. So the 00 not able to follow suit with the 2. But now that we're on the older tires, it's going to be interesting to see if Richard Reagan Jr. can stay with the 2 or who will follow him in the way. But these guys are all staying extremely close to one another. But drivers that are going to be making some charges through the field going back, this is going to be the 27 as well as the 11 on freshest tires out here. About 21 lap fresher tires than the rest of the field. It's going to be interesting to see how the 27 can just march his way through, and it's going to be easy, like a knife cutting through butter.
Absolutely. We'll have to wait and see how it comes into play. He could just be taking it easy. Kind of got to catch him at the right time to get the run off the corner.
Yeah, it's going through traffic. It's going to be interesting for these drivers. You've got Dalton Collin already up to 6th place. Butcher Benjamin back in 11th. Now moved up to 8th in just one corner. So 11 is making moves. Then following him is also Tim Williams on that inside line, who's trying to follow suit in the white machine, and other drivers also trying to follow. But back up front, Boyd Hogan, he's been doing a great job. I believe Boyd Hogan has a much faster long run setup than Richard Reagan Jr., and that's why we're seeing the 2-car pulling away. Vincent Arthur, also someone who's got a decent long run setup, trying to hold up with these drivers, but Caden Rush still dropping back at 4th at the moment, but under fire from the car that's on the freshest tires, the 27 of Dalton Collins, and Collins is already up to 5th place.
Yep, he's working his way up through the pack. Caden Rush coming over the mic. I'm the guy saying something there. I was saying something to Dalton Collins. These two are messing with each other as they're trying to come up through the pack here.
And Collins is going to continue to push, and we're expecting to see both the 27 and the 11 be our front two. We'll see if Tim Williams can follow as well, as he's been doing a good job cutting through the field, as they've been out here on 6th lap since we've taken the green. The 27 already up to 3rd, and already can see and taste the blood of getting that 1st place position. So 27, Dalton Collins is up to 3rd, and 11 is up to 5th place, so not surprised to see this right there, Michael.
Not surprised at all. He is getting pressure tires.
I mean, it's 22 lap fresher tires. It's not. We were based off the lap times that are being put down right now between our leaders and the 27. It's about almost a 1.5 seconds quicker. So I'm not surprised by how much faster we're seeing the 27 going. And Dalton Collins up into the lead, and the 11 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin up to 3rd. Now the lead. The next car we're expecting to cut through our top drivers is going to be the 18. But while they're getting past, Richard Reagan Jr. able to get by the 2 of Boyd Hogan, who really it's just because they've been pushed up so many times that it gave the 17 momentum to catch up to the 2, make that pass, as these drivers are all off sequence for 20 laps or so off sequence from one another. And it's just because of drivers deciding when they wanted to take tires. You had we had the 17 and the 2, and practically the rest of the field decided to pit on caution number 2 and take tires, while the other drivers decided to stay out on the older tires and finally take new tires here on caution number 3 to restart.
Yep, he's keeping an eye, not looking back. As you see, he's got the strongest car on the fresher tires right now. The 11 and now in 2nd place. The 18, Tim Williams, has moved up to the 3rd position. He must have fresh tires as well.
Yeah, and that's going to be the last of the drivers that are on the freshest tires. Everyone else is either a lap down, which is Cody Jordan and Greg Newsom. Drivers that are out of the race and have parked it: Larry Reed, Justin Carey, and Matt Knight did not take the green, but that 3 machine did not take the green and will not finish. In the pits trying to get repairs, though, is Chris Hansen in the 20, as well as the 77 of Ryan Strunk. On track, we've got a total of 16 drivers out there and a total of 14 on the lead lap.
Leading yet another lap. Dalton Collins leading again. He's got about a 2nd lead over 2nd place right now.
Yeah, and those drivers are probably going to continue to gap themselves from the rest of the field and each other. I'm watching this 3-car battle, though, for 9th place, as you've got Ty McWhorter, John Mullins, as well as Tom trailing, all on top of one another. These 3 drivers for position, as they'll try to figure out how to duel this out as they are right on top of one another. You can put a blanket over these three machines. Tom Drayling trying to get into the top 10 as he's running 11th at the moment. Mullins is also trying to get by McWhirter. McWhirter, we're used to seeing running up in the around 7th, 6th position, so where we're used to seeing him running all season long. But some new faces we're not used to seeing challenging that 69 of the 13 of Mullins, as well as the 42 of Drayling.
Absolutely.
As we're watching these drivers drive along, something to keep in the back of our mind is the fact that the drivers that did not pit on that last restart, they're going to have to think about pitting here in the next 20 to 40 laps. Actually, it's about 20 to 30 laps for these drivers. So if we can stay green. We're around that marker, though, of whenever we restart for our caution to pop up. So we'll wait and see. You saw there on the screen, Tom Drayling kind of got fed up passing both the drivers in front of him and taking off like a rocket ship. Now we're going to be moving up to the battle for 6th place, where you've got Vincent Arthur as Caden Rush trying to run down the 24 machine. As this is a battle for 6th place, and we'll see if Arthur can get by the 17 of Richard Reagan Jr.
Keeping an eye out, these leaders have just pulled away. They're roughly about 1 second apart from each other, and then it's another 2, almost 3 seconds back to the drivers on the older tires. So you can see the plain difference between new tires and old tires here today.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that shocking to see. I mean, even with about 10 lap different tires, you can already see the difference. So these drivers having a great run so far, continuing to push it as far as they can. I really think that the thing we're looking for with these drivers is when will they think about pitting, because the next 20 laps or so are going to be so critical for these drivers not to spin out, not to make any contact with one another. As a couple of these spins have been self-spins where they come in through the center of the corner, just losing it.
The 8 car getting lapped again, almost lost it off of turn number 2.
It's going to be Chris Noble and the 8 machine, who we've seen have issues or be around issues throughout the race, and right now running a lap down, and was just put a lap down, I should say, and now in front of 2nd place of Taylor Butchman Benjamin. And we'll probably just get out of the way this time.
Yep.
And goes onto the I side. There goes Noble, letting 11 go on by. And we'll see how that battle continues forward. But right now, watching the battle for 5th place, as Vincent Arthur on the back bumper of the 17 of Richard Reagan Jr. Vincent Arthur, we've already talked about it, on that bubble spot of 16th place on the points, only leading Joseph Piscota by 1 point. Entering this race and trying to continue to push that lead away, but the 9 machine's not really having a bad day, as he's running just 2 positions back from the 24. As the pass almost being made.
On it. The 18 car trying to work around the 8 machine, not really doing it, and that's costing him a lot of time.
Move up to Tim Williams, and finally will get by. 8 of Chris Noble is Tim Williams, and we'll drop back to this battle that we were just watching of 3 machines of 17, 24, and 00. As this is some of the best action on track, and I'm not surprised. It's last night's winner, Richard Reagan Jr. in the 17, Vincent Arthur that we've seen in the National Series a couple of times, and then Caden Rush, who we kind of know as the road course ace out here, who has just put on a great show. Has been Caden Rush. Yes, I like to call him the ace for road courses, because that's where we've seen him get a lot of wins, but he's also been quite solid at these ovals and continuing to show off and running 7th at the moment. But if he can somehow get the pass of the 2 cars in front of him, putting himself in the top 5, they're right on top of one another. And here comes Chris Noble, the lap machine, and we've seen a couple of our leaders have some interesting times around. We'll see if he can get by them.
Right, the 8 machine, there he goes, he slides up the track, lets them all by. That's like that. You said keep an eye on that 00. If he gets the good run, he could get by these drivers. It's not going to be that bad as Boyd Hogan's gapped himself from the other drivers here. Like you said, it's not going to be that much longer until we see these drivers on pit road. We're actually approaching halfway. Oh, the 00. Ooh, got a great run on that 24, almost into the back of him. Now, here's the thing, Sam. You've seen races at Dover all the time. How many times have you seen somebody move somebody else out of the way in like a bump and run situation?
Well, I mean, we even saw it last night where if a car just gave a slight opening on the inside, a driver would come in, either use their bumper to hit the quarter panel to move them up, or just bump them like we were at Bristol or Martinsville. I mean, a bump and run, probably the most useful way to get around someone, as we saw this battle going on and getting by a lap machine. It's something to really keep behind someone's back of their head, something for a tool to use later on.
Oh, the number 10 machine of Cody Jordan has blown his motor.
As you can see, coming to a crawl around, this is entry number of corner number 3. If he can somehow get it to the entry pit window, he might be able to get it out of here, but I believe he's off track. Caution should not come out for the 10 machine.
Well, there is a pull-off area as he's just made it to pit road here, so now he could safely pull it to a stop and get a tow to his pit box. But I'm pretty sure the motor is done on that number 10 machine.
Yeah, I mean, Michael, you were talking about the fact that the 2 machine of Boyd Hogan pulled away from Richard Reagan Jr. and the rest of that field. Well, he hasn't just pulled away and be by himself. He just caught up to Tim Williams, who's on a couple of lap older tires, but also pit road has just gotten busy as the 00 is pulled in. Caden Rush going to be the first car onto pit road, and this is around the time that the window will start to open up for these drivers, and we'll go back to the battle where we were watching Boyd Hogan getting almost under the 18, not able to do so at the moment, but pit road now open, and Boyd Hogan almost thought about using a bumper there off the exit of 2.
Absolutely. Sometimes you've got to do what's necessary to get around somebody, especially if they are holding you up. Like you said, the 00 on pit road takes his tires and is now off of pit road, not very far. 00 has an advantage being so close to the end of pit road there, so he's able to not have to stay at 35 so long. As we're watching, it's coming up right on this battle with the 18 and the 2 car.
Boyd Hogan is racing frustrated. He knows he's faster than Tim Williams, who Williams is on the advantage of a couple of lap on a 20 or 22 lap old tires. Blocking the 00 there for a second was the 18. A very bold move, but being so high up, here comes the 2 on the inside.
It's as if the 2 car had, I'm not sure if the 2 car has not been to pit road. That car has just suddenly come to life, even though he's about 7 seconds behind the race leader. So the question is, when are we going to see Boyd Hogan bring it down pit road?
Other cars that have come in, the 22 of Chad Gunsman, he has pulled it into, excuse me, I miscalled that. That was actually Ty McWhorter that pulled into the pits. Cody Jordan, after that engine blow, has parked that machine for the rest of the day, leaving us with a total of 15 cars still running at this time. And on the lead lap, well, we've only got about 9 with pits underway.
Absolutely, the 20 machine still on pit road.
We're dropping back.
Boy, Dalton Collins is in his own zip code right now. 5, almost 6 seconds ahead of second place.
I mean, I know Tim Williams is dropped off, and also Boyd Hogan is dropped off, but what in the world has happened to those drive? As I'm watching Richard Reagan Jr. as well as Arthur, they've been able to really catch up to the 2 machine now.
Oh, the 27 almost had a moment there, letting the faster 00 car by.
That's something to worry about, and with the fact that the 27 and the 11 have so much fresher tires, they could stay out there longer, and with everyone that has to pit, putting people down 1 lap, possibly even 2 laps down. And if a caution comes out because of these slower drivers catching up to the faster ones catching up to slower drivers, it could cost a lot of cars in the pits. It's Noble into the wall again, almost wrecking in front of our leader.
Yep, and that's definitely not good.
I mean, it's worrying as a leader because that has happened twice now that we've seen our leader be by machines that have come in and had some issues. Into the pits, you saw there James Levin, the 88, as we're watching Dalton Collins at this time. These drivers could be all in front of each other.
The 88 machine has brought it down pit road.
Same as the 11, actually. Butcher Benjamin has pulled it in earlier than I expected. That is shocking to see. I honestly thought the 11 would stay out way longer than everyone else, but seeing that other drivers have pitted, feeling concerned and possibly pressure of losing time on the other drivers.
Yep. And you know, it's not that bad of a strategy to come down and get it now, because especially if a caution were to come out, especially involving maybe the 8 machine, who's just been really all over this racetrack.
It really has been all over the place, but right now we are watching to see where these drivers are going to be running as we're coming closer and closer to figuring out when drivers are going to be coming to the pits. The 11 just came out, and other drivers that just came into the pits, Chris Noble has finally pulled it in, as well as John Mullins. Question is, when will Boyd Hogan, Richard Reagan Jr., Vincent Arthur, those 3 machines have been out there for right now 70 laps. We've had 2 cautions to try to save fuel, so they could probably go past that 72 marker that we originally set. But how much further with these with all the pace laps they were able to do? I mean, possibly save a lap, maybe 2. So maybe these drivers are thinking about going to lap 73 to finish out this race.
Yeah, and it's going to be difficult to really strategize for that. They just gotta stick to their guns and maybe hope to get a late race yellow. 18 car is coming down pit road. As just said, Tim Williams is now going to be coming down pit road.
Tim Williams in the 18. It was part of those drivers that pitted on that last caution and came in hard, hits the wall.
And that might not be that bad of damage. We'll just have to keep an eye out.
Well, here's the thing, right? It's that inside wall guardrail that's going to rip things a little bit harder than the outside wall at other parts of this race course. So we'll wait and see how long the 18 stays in the pits, but that is still hard contact coming into the pits, and Tim Williams now getting service done. But we saw this last night as well for the 2 machine of Whitaker. He tried something different, stayed out longer, actually could not slow down while coming into the pits and hit the pit barrels after overshooting it a lap previously to that. So pit entry here at Dover is going to be something tricky to watch, as everyone is going to be struggling throughout this race. A driver that's trying to unlap himself right now is the 00 of Caden Rush, who is passing by the drivers that are in 3rd and 4th position, easily able to do so. Vincent Arthur, after that, pushing 17 up, going to be taking the lead, going to be taking that position, I should say. Here comes Chris Noble as well, getting under the 24, almost drifting up into the 24, but able to continue forward.
Keeping an eye on Boyd Hogan, wondering when that number 2 machine will be down pit road. We're on lap 120, so we're in the second half of this race. The 00 of Caden Rush looking to come back and get us from 2 laps down. He's only 1 right now, but as you can see, the faster cars are just blowing on by these machines.
Yeah, Caden Rush, as well as the 8 of Chris Noble, able to get by Boyd Hogan, and now have about 7.5 seconds to try to gain on our leader to unlap himself for Caden Rush. And Caden Rush really looking to get an advantage there. And if he can unlap himself, that's huge, just in case a caution comes out while we're under this pit road sequence for everyone. I think for Boyd Hogan, though, and Richard Reagan Jr. and Vincent Arthur, they were thinking about possibly staying out there as long as they could, but Vincent Arthur had to come into the pits and hitting this time, as well as Richard Reagan Jr. now coming this time this lap. We'll see how far Boyd Hogan can pull that 2 cars. He'll be staying out for another lap. Possibly been trying to aim to be out there for at least until lap 125, and then try to stretch this last stretch if we stay green for the last 75, 76 laps. I don't know if you can do that without lap.
Yellow flag is out. The yellow flag is out. Oh, the 8. I believe that was huge. The 3 car.
It's the 3 and the 8 that made contact. I believe that is going to be Noble and Newsom, as we're going to go back and see exactly what happened with these drivers.
3 car I think the 3 car. It was just the 3 car involved. It was just the 3. The 8 car spun trying to avoid.
See here on the replay.
3 cars just got too high off the corner, hit the wall, and just couldn't save it.
And Noble, that was it's crazy to see that type of a slide, but a fantastic slide on his part, not to hit anything. As we'll take another look at that from Chris Noble's point of view, but Greg Newsom, hard contact for the 3 machine, ripped up that front bumper.
This is going to work out perfectly for that 27 machine. Not only do some of these cars have fresh tires, but now being trapped a lap down and having to get the wave around to get back onto the lead lap, they're going to start behind the drivers who are pitting right now, and they're going to have the freshest tires.
And you're going to see here, this perfect slide doesn't hit the inside wall, screeches it to a hole, doesn't hit the outside wall, and doesn't hit anyone else. A great save by Chris Noble that was trying to avoid Craig Newsom in the 3. But yeah, like you were saying, for these drivers that are pitting, they're going to have that advantage for sure because of all the wave arounds that we're expecting to see. Richard Reagan Jr., though, he'll be on his wave around. Vincent Arthur and Tim Williams all have pitted in the past 7 laps. So they'll probably be feeling a little bit more comfortable doing a wave around. Everyone else, though, that's in double digits on those tires have to be slightly nervous.
Absolutely. They're going to want to hope for another quick caution. But like you said, it's all going to come down to getting the wave arounds here.
Well, as we are under caution and have gone past the halfway marker, we'll wait and see where everyone will line up before we go green. But until then, we'll have a quick commercial break and hear from some of our sponsors. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Soda Guys Cup Series. My name is Sam Dyer, and I've got Michael Norman here with me in the booth. Michael, we've been watching these guys running for 129 laps, about to be 130 when we go green again. Dalton Collins leading the way on some fresh tires compared to some of the other drivers following suit. How much of an advantage right now does that 27 have on the rest of the field?
Oh, it's gonna be big. It's gonna be big time here. I can't wait to see how these cars are gonna be. Green flag is back out. We are back underway. It looks like we've actually had. That's a weird restart to me.
It was a funky one for sure, but these drivers, guess what? We only have 5 drivers on the lead lap because under pit sequence, a caution came out that cost everyone that had to pit early. So drivers that we were seeing up front aren't up here anymore, as it's going to be Dalton Collins, Boyd Hogan, Tom Drayling, Caden Rush, and Taylor Butchman Benjamin as your top 5. And those are your only cars on the lead lap. Richard Reagan Jr., who we're seeing up front, being a challenger for the win. Back in 7th, 1 lap down, trying to get by Jack Gunsman. But going for the lead right now is going to be Boyd Hogan in the 2.
Yeah, we saw how strong that car is right off the bat. The 2 car able to use his tires and take the lead. We've still got about 70, 69 laps to go right now. So it's going to make things these last 70 laps really interesting.
And right now we're watching the battle for 3rd place. Tom Drayling trying to hold off the 0-0 of Caden Rush. Caden Rush goes a little high there, trying to arc himself in to get that momentum off the corner and right on the back bumper of the 42, and will be taking that position on the inside. As it looked like Drayling kind of said, hey, you can have that spot if you want. Also watching the 17 of Richard Reagan Jr. following the 0-0 is the car he's running down is the 22 right in front of Caden Rush at the moment. That is Chad Gunsman, who's running on, I believe, a couple of lap old tires. The same, he's on the same pit strategy as our leaders. But Richard Reagan Jr., though, is on about 3 lap older tires than the rest of the field, and he'll make the pass here on Chad Gunsman and going to be putting himself in 6th place. First car 1 lap down. As Chad, it looks like it's actually Caden Rush we're watching, just got by Dalton Collins, but he's got over almost a 2-second gap between himself and the leader, Boyd Hogan, who's just taken off after getting by Dalton Collins.
Absolutely, and Caden Rush just takes over the 2nd position. I'm honestly surprised we have lapped cars starting up where I figured they would have been pushed to the back. But that was a really funky restart on my end. But
well, we had Chad Gunsman running there right on the outside, so he was able to still make as many aggressive moves as he wanted to. And everyone else was kind of following suit, scattered, and you had some cars that were running in the back of the pack because they took the wave around, others that didn't. A lot of cars actually didn't take the wave around at all, which was the most surprising thing to me, because I thought for sure we'd be seeing Vincent Arthur and others taking a wave around, trying to get their lap back, but we're not able to.
That 17 car really hoping for another quick caution.
Yeah,
we only have 5 cars on the lead lap after that. Got caution flag, really messed up the running order.
It really has. I mean, we're going to be coming to about 62 laps to go when we cross the line here. So, and it's kind of, if we have another caution here, it will set us up for the final run, where I'm expecting a lot of drivers to still save their tires for a late push. But everyone's on such different running orders on their tires that they're still right on top of one another. If you go back to Tom Drayling, the 42, he's got Vincent Arthur and I believe also in front of him, that's the 13 of Mullins surrounding him. Those are 2 lap machines, not for position for the middle yellow and red. It's the 42 machine of Tom Drayling, who's just going to let Vincent Arthur go on by. But with Vincent Arthur going a lap down, it actually puts him closer to Piscota and the 9 machine, as they're both running 8th and 9th, making it still so difficult to pull away from one another in the points race, as this is the second to last race of the regular season. Next week we'll be going to Daytona, and that will be our finale for the regular season to see who's going to be our top 16 going into playoffs. And that's such a wild card because a lot of drivers that are outside looking in, they had that race circled on their calendar of my possible way to be booking myself to the playoffs.
Absolutely. Daytona, you never know who's going to win that. It's really all about working the draft and getting up there when it counts. And so that's going to be the wild card of this whole chase for the championship here. So we're still keeping an eye on the 00, who's cleared for second, but still about 2 seconds behind Boyd Hogan.
Yeah, and losing a little bit of time. It looks like about a tenth or more difference between the two and the 00. So the gap now, the last we talked was 2 seconds. It's now almost up to 2.5 seconds. As Dalton Collins, though, able to still stick with the 00, sticking within at least 3/10 and not letting Caden Rush pull away as Dalton Collins in third place.
We are approaching the final quarter of this race, and it's still been so incredible to see how this has been playing around.
Right now we've got, like I said, 5 cars on the lead lap, but it might soon be only 4, as Taylor Butcherman Benjamin has been on these tires for about 32 laps, very slow compared to our leaders at the moment, and is about 4 or 5 seconds away from going a lap down, which would bring us to only 4 cars on the lead lap. Yeah, I haven't seen that small of a lead lap field in a long time. Michael, can you think of another race where it's just been this scattered between lead lap and lap cars?
No, actually I have not. It's just really been it's been a unique one, to say the least. You know, caution coming out in the middle of things like pit stops. You always fear it because you know it's coming, so you want to try to get it done and cycle around as much as you can. But it's a tough break for a lot of these drivers. Some of them with really good cars being trapped a lap down.
Really is, and this battle for second has been staying on board between Caden Rush and Dalton Collins. They are both on the lead lap. This is a battle for second place on the same strategy of tires and fuel, but on that last restart we had. These drivers right now, though, they gotta be feeling somewhat confident, but at the same time, I believe that these drivers still need to make at least one more pit stop to make it to the end, just based off of fuel.
Yeah, we had about 70 laps to go on the restart. That's really pushing it fuel-wise, and I don't know about tires.
I believe that what the last time we saw with, I believe it's 2 cautions to help out the drivers, we saw there Boyd Hogan and others go for about 75 to 78 laps, so, and it puts them just on the brink of making it. So these drivers all crossing their fingers that they've saved up enough fuel to make it to the end and for us to stay green, as that is what our top 4 are really hoping for. As right now the 11 machine is still drifting back, and you can look back here on the gearbox cam. Just that speck when you coming out of the corner, that's going to be Boyd Hogan who's coming.
Yep. We're keeping an eye on the leader here. He's just crossed the line again. It's just these laps winding down. We have 50 laps to go.
As we're on board with 27 of Dalton Collins, you can see the 00 Caden Rush blinking in and out. That it's a little distracting for drivers as you're coming up onto passing another machine, and to blink in and out, you can blink into somebody and actually cause yourself to wreck. As Caden Rush not getting the easiest way around, as Chris Noble into the wall again. I believe that was Mullins that had to get forced back. That actually wasn't Mullins, that was someone else. Excuse me, that was being put a lap down or being passed by our lead lap machines.
Keeping an eye on it here. Just the 42 machine trying to get up here. Vincent Arthur, that's another one trying to fight to get back onto this lead lap.
Trying to fight and get forward. Also, that car in front of the 24, that's the 22 of Chad Kunzman, and that is for position for the 24 machine of Vincent Arthur. So trying to at least move himself up from 8th to 7th place. The next car that he's going to have to put his eyes out on for would be the 17 of Richard Reagan Jr. which Reagan Jr. is trying to catch up to the 11 just in case he goes a lap down, because everyone now running to try to make sure they are the first car 1 lap down, just in case a caution comes out. That would bring, if a caution comes out, you want to be up front so you get that lucky dog position, but also don't be the car that's involved in that accident.
Absolutely.
As on track, still Boyd Hogan. 9 wins this season in the regular season. Looking for number 10. The only car that is close to this 2 machine on wins would actually be John Cottle, who I haven't seen in a while. He has 2 wins at the beginning of the season, as well as the 00 of Caden Rush. So those drivers having a spectacular days. John Cottle not racing today. His sub driver actually is Tim Williams. So that was who is running the 18 machine, and Tim Williams that we're used to seeing running in the Rapid Fire National Series, coming up to racing here today.
00 car talking about having 00 being told he is blinking pretty badly.
Which he has been. It's been a, oh no! Richard Reagan Jr. hard into the inside wall. No caution out. Due to the fact that no caution, we're gonna do a quick replay onto showing you what happened to the 17, because that happened just on the edge of our screen. Coming out of 4, a simple mistake for the 17, hitting the outside wall. Actually loses it hard in the inside wall. Did not bring out a caution. Shocking to see, but the 17 car's day looking pretty bleak and done.
Over. It's already over. He is parked it behind the wall. He is out and gone.
Our winner from last night in the National Series is out of the race. He was a lap down, first car a lap down at the moment, and now done. For the 17 machine, putting another machine behind the wall, leaving us with a total of, I believe that would give us 13 drivers still running on track.
And the 11 car just went a lap down to our race leader,
which is going to be putting him 1 lap down, and now being chased by the 24 of Vincent Arthur.
Only 4 cars on the lead lap now.
Which is wild. Wild to think about. We've only got 14 cars on the lead lap. Right now we're on screen with John Mullins, who was trying to pass the 96 of Ty McWhorter, who was right in front of him there. And that would be for position for 9th place for the 13. Trying to get by the 96. And the difference in tires, about 20 laps. So we're not surprised to see the 13 car will easily get by the 96 of Ty McWhorter, as he'll be dropping back. Other passes that could be going down, the 9 machine of Joseph Piscota on the back bumper, the 18 of Tim Williams. And Tim Williams, who we've seen on these later runs, that machine just starts to drop off much quicker on the short runs. Not much on the, oh no! He goes around to the 18 machine!
Tim Williams is out.
Tim Williams will bring out our caution here today. We'll be going back to see exactly what happened. That looked almost deja vu-like what happened to Richard Reagan Jr., but this time on the backstretch.
Yep, and like I said, you just get on the gas too early and your car will go around. It's really, really difficult, but the caution is out, and that could hopefully, that's going to allow the 11 to get the lucky dog. The lucky dog. But the only problem is this. I don't think we'll see wave rounds because cars might come down pit road this time, as they can make it to the end if they pit now.
Yeah, they should be able to make it. I think the main thing, though, right, is who has the tires left. I believe most of these drivers have been saving tires for this exact moment for a late run. We'll be watching the action here. We'll see here by Boyd Hogan what type of a pit stop will the 2 have, and the 00 is Caden Rush will have the pit stall all the way at the end, so should get a better launch off than everyone else here on pit road.
Yep, we're just going to have to keep an eye out and watch.
Man, how demoralizing is that for Richard Reagan Jr., who was so close to getting back out there onto the lead lap with this caution, and instead his day is done. Boyd Hogan back out and going, and will beat out Caden Rush, and the 11 actually going to be staying out there on track trying to lead a lap.
Yep, he figures since he has the lucky dog. No, he's not. He's dropping back, letting the cars go by him. This could be an interesting finish here.
Well, we will see the rest of the racing action. Before we get to that, though, we're going to see our last commercial of the day, and then we'll finish off this race, as it has been a blast to watch. We'll be right back here for the green. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back to the Soda Guys Cup Series, and it's a wild one, as we are now coming to, once we go green, 32 laps to go. My name is Sam Dyer, and I've got Michael Norman with me. And Michael, we were trying to calculate what type of scenarios some of these drivers are looking for. And honestly, a driver that was trying something risky, that's going to be Vincent Arthur, staying out with the wave around. Is trying to get back to the end of the field. Will put himself back on the lead lap, so we'll be back at 6 drivers on the lead lap, but he's kind of asking for a caution at this point.
Yeah, on old tires like that, it's going to definitely be something to see if he can get an early caution, but I hope that it's not him that brings it out either. But we're going to have to wait and see as we are getting ready to go back green flag racing.
It's going to be 32 laps to go. Boyd Hogan, Caden Rush, your front row. Dalton Collins, Tom Drayling, and then Taylor Butchman Benjamin is going to be your top 5. It's going to be Boyd Hogan leading the charge, getting pushed by Dalton Collins and getting by Caden Rush in a way, but Caden Rush still on the outside, holding strong as I say that he drifts back to 3rd.
Yep, here he goes down the back straightaway. We got a real good battle for the lead here. The 2 and the 27 and the 00, they're all going to battle it out for these last remaining laps. 00 gets a little bit loose, but it looks like he could possibly clear for second. He does going into turn 1.
It looks like Dalton Collins is great for the first 3 to 4 laps before green, and then it comes into Boyd Hogan. But we haven't really had a very good chance of seeing what Caden Rush has. He's had all race to change up the setup for this 00 to be up front, racing hard.
The 27 got loose off of turn 4.
It almost absolutely clobbered the wall, but here comes the 00 now on the inside.
I told you not to count out Caden Rush under that commercial break. Here he is battling now. It's a 3-car battle for the race lead. Caden's going to get the corner. 27's going to really dive it off into turn 3.
Dalton Collins looking for his 2nd win, while Caden Rush is looking for his 3rd. But guess what? That 2 machine in 3rd, he's looking for his 10th win of the season. He's been the most dominant car all season long. You cannot count out Boyd Hogan at all during this race.
27's worn out a bit of his tires already. You can tell as the 2 car's going to slide underneath him to get 2nd place. And now can he try to reel back in the 00?
This is the point where I was talking about. Caden Rush, he's great for the first about 3 to 4 laps, then drops back. Does Boyd Hogan have enough to catch up to Caden Rush? Or can Caden Rush just pull away with this thing? 28 laps to go for these drivers. Come to 27 when they cross the line. Driver really wanting a caution right now is going to be the 24 of Vincent Arthur, as well as Piscota, who is the first car 1 lap down and the only car 1 lap down at the moment.
Riding on board with the 2 machine Boyd Hogan. He's really trying to get the run off the corner. Wow, right close to the wall as he goes into turn 3. Like I said, you can really pull it. You can really push it into these corners. That's exactly what he's doing. Slowly catching that 00 machine.
Might be wondering what happened to the 27. He's dropped back to almost the 2nd back, and really those tires are no longer there. But Boyd Hogan, entry of turn number 1, had massive momentum and carries it forward through the backstretch.
Coming into turn number 3, he sees the light. He's got to try to make it stick. If he can get off the corner, good. He might have a good shot at it. He got into turn 1 pretty good. That's time. Let's see if he can do it again this time. He really can close up on the back of that 00 machine.
Caden Rush just looks like he's hitting a bump on the entry of turn number 1. That's just bottoming out the 00, which is giving Caden Rush that momentum to get right in the back bumper. As we're coming to 24 laps to go when they cross the line. But man, these guys.
That was an interesting move. I just heard as I'm riding on board with this machine. He is clutching going into these corners, shutting that car off.
Did Boyd Hogan not put enough fuel in the tank? Or are they expecting us to go even further, possibly going into a longer stint for these drivers? Possibly something that I'm shocked to be hearing that he is clutching it, because that is something we're not used to hearing.
Clutching or not, he's still able to stay right on the back bumper of that 00 machine.
I mean, here at Darlington, you are way more off.
Darlington, this is Dover.
I mean, Dover. I'm so sorry. It starts with D's. I knew after I said it, I was like, that's a mistake. But here at Dover, you're more so off of the gas through the corners than you are on the gas. So it makes sense why you would want to clutch just a little bit to help your car possibly get through the corner better in some fashion.
It seems to be that 2 machine is the only one saving, but even with saving, he is still on the back bumper of that 00 machine.
As Caden Rush still holding off, and as we're now on I've got 21 laps to go in this race. Caden Rush is feeling pretty confident at the moment, but you know Boyd Hogan, he's done this time after time, stealing these wins away from Caden Rush. We'll see if it happens here again. As Boyd Hogan still in the back bumper of the 00, coming out of 4.
They're keeping an eye on this battle right now. They're still 2-car able to coast more in the corner. He's right on the back bumper.
20 laps to go. These drivers are feeling good, feeling confident. the strategy that we were throwing out for Vincent Arthur was be out there for 15 laps and then hope for a caution. Well, next 4 laps, you're hoping for a caution there for the driver of the 24 and the 9 that both are praying for a caution to come out at this moment, but a lot of machines really aren't even that close to one another here on track.
Listening to the inside, listening to the drivers chat right now. Really keeping an eye on this battle up front.
You've got the drivers up here battling against one another. You also have in the middle of the field between lap traffic machines of the 13 and the 96 you saw on before we had that last caution, them battling out on track, still at each other's throats. They continue to battle on. That is James Love that you saw pulling into the pits in the 88 machine. Just not a great day for that Hendricks car.
Absolutely not, but this battle for the lead, I cannot believe it. Starcom and Penske Racing.
And, you know, it's one of those things where every week that we see, oh, he's coming. Here comes Boyd. He's right on the back bumper that time.
00 slipped up just a little bit, and the 2 car is ready to pounce. Could that 2 car be getting in the head of that 00?
I mean, right now, you've got Rush who's trying to get more bonus points. And then you also got Boyd Hogan who's just trying to capitalize a fantastic season for himself so far. As both these drivers racing so hard, coming to 15 laps to go. Will a caution come out? And if it does, who still has tires to put in? Because remember, you started off with only 5 sets to work with. That was the one that you started the race off, and 4 to put on during the race itself. So a lot of these drivers have already put down their best, already put in their final sets. Some drivers actually been saving for just in case we have a late caution.
Absolutely, these cars are slowly approaching that number 24 machine, but that we said desperately needed an early caution to get back on top of things. Unfortunately, didn't happen. So how will that 24 machine play into this race?
I mean, he wants to race hard, but at the same time, he really can't. He's got about 38 lap older tires than the rest of the field. So I'm not expecting to see Vincent Arthur be much of a challenge, but you know he wants to at least try to hold off these guys, as it's still Caden Rush leading the way, but Boyd Hogan not leaving at all, still in the back bumper of the 00. And Michael, you brought up earlier in the broadcast, different ways to get around here, and sometimes you got to use a bumper. Are we going to see Boyd Hogan possibly think about using a bumper to get by this 00?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's very much possible, especially with the runs into the corner that he gets. The 2 car might have used up a lot of his stuff now. He's not as close as he once was, but I'm sure he desperately wants it.
I mean, we saw this early in the middle of the track when we were on that long green flag run, that drivers were able to pick off and use the lap machines as picks to try to get by the car in front of them. That's something to watch out for. Boyd Hogan might try to set up the 00 or other drivers while they're passing lap traffic.
Keeping an eye on this battle. You got 2 lap cars ahead, one to the outside, one to the inside. Now they both move to the inside. Will they get out of the way, or will they make these last 2 laps difficult for the leader?
And that's going to be Chris Noble, who's the first lap machine that we're going to be getting by, and Boyd Hogan kind of drifting up a little higher than we've been seeing him, and you might be right. He might have used up his stuff already. Thought he could make the pass early, was not able to on Caden Rush. While Caden Rush, on the other hand, kind of just been running the same laps in the same way as our leaders starting to split off from one another.
Oh, what happened?
Boyd Hogan up into the wall. It looked like he possibly hit the apron that just shot him up into the outside wall, hurting the 2 machines' pace and dropping it back, kind of gifting the win to Caden Rush if we don't have a caution that comes out. We're going to drop back to this battle for 3rd as Tom Drayling on the back bumper of Dalton Collins.
The 2 car just went to turn into the corner, and I don't know if he just lost it going in, because it just completely, oh God, I don't even know how to explain it. He just lost it.
Yeah, it looked like it kind of just snapped and went up into the track, and kind of looked like the apron might have been something there, just based off the angle that it came up. I mean, I've seen that with other drivers where If you hit the apron the wrong way, it will just launch you to the high side. And right now the lead from first to second is a second and a half, and it is gaining with the damage that 2 has sustained on that right side. You hate to see that was the way that was going to go down, because you knew Boyd Hogan wanted to try to challenge the 00 harder and more than he was, just not able to anymore.
Yep, keeping an eye on the race leader. He's got about 6 laps, 5.5 laps to go to secure the win, unless we get a late race caution, and that could change everything.
And here for position, the 27 of Dalton Collins and Tom Drayling in the 42 on screen, battling back and forth. They're less than a half a second between one another, and still close. Thought for a second Tom Drayling was going to pass Dalton Collins, but since we've hopped on board, at 27's either been keeping the same pace or slowly pulling away.
Yep. And an eye back here, the 27 just trying to catch up, maybe to get a second position out of it. But boy, that 00 really is playing with the 24.
It really is, and you know that the 24 machine of Vincent Arthur doesn't want to go a lap down, so he's trying his best to hold off, run the preferred line, slow down this 00. And what's crazy is that they're still pulling away slightly from Boyd Hogan, even though the lap machine of the 24 car is holding up our leader.
Yeah, and doesn't really seem to be gaining much. We've got 3 laps to go. Caution is out!
Oh boy! In the 24, Vincent Arthur was ahead. Chris Noble, who we've seen on the high side letting cars go on by, bring out our caution.
It's the 8 machine again. It looks like he hit the wall, and then as the 11 car went to try to pass, the 8 car bounced off the wall right into the path of the 11, and he got hooked.
You're seeing down the front stretch, 11 tries to come in, and just a miscommunication by both those drivers making that contact and bringing out the late caution, bringing us to a green-white checkered, Michael. Here we go.
And looks like the 2 car will be coming to pit road. Looks like the 2 car has a set of tires left.
2 car of Boyd Hogan staying out. Caden Rush, Dalton Collin. You gotta know that drivers are getting a little nervous, a little worried, as you're seeing the 2, the 42, the 11 coming into the pits. You know the 24 still has a pair to work with, so those are some drivers feeling comfortable that they can come in. The 9 of Joseph Piscota will be getting the lucky dog here, so he'll be able to get back on the lead lap, giving us 7 machines on the lead lap coming to this green-white checkered. And Michael, I believe that you can see on your end how many green-white checkers we have.
Let's see. I'm going to look here, and it does not... Oh, hold on. I hit the wrong button. It is... We have 3 attempts at a green-white checkered.
So 3 attempts for these drivers. This could be our one and only, or we're going to have multiple ones from here on out. But coming out of the pits, Boyd Hogan will be coming out, and first car on those fresher tires.
So is Vincent Arthur. If the lap cars have to go to the rear of the field, then this is going to be a very interesting restart.
Well, I mean, you got 2 cars up here that stayed out that are on the older tires. That is going to be Caden Rush and Dalton Collins being your front row. Then you've got Boyd Hogan and Tom Drayling in your second row on the newer and fresher tires. You also got Vincent Arthur, as well as, I believe, the 11 of Butcher Benjamin will be able to be on the lead lap as well, with slight damage from that last incident, excuse me. And then the 9 of Piscota will be starting at the end of the line due to the fact that he got the lucky dog. So I don't see Piscota being an issue for these drivers unless our cars that are in the lead lap have an accident that happens. Everyone else that's on the field is still racing, is 2 laps or more down. Cars that are still running after Chris Noble being out. 10 cars still running out here Total of 7 on the lead lap.
Absolutely.
Well, Michael, we're at Dover. How
Yep.
are you feeling about this green white checkered here?
I'm not sure. I'm attempting to listen to the driver chat. I believe the two-car was trying to explain what had happened to him that caused that thing, and they're saying that it might be something to do with just the track itself. But that you got the top two you got the top two, maybe three, that are on old tires, and then you've got the two-car which is going to restart in the fourth position. That 13 car is 2 laps down. If he doesn't get the lucky dog, he's going to have to get. There he goes. You see him pulling down now, letting cars by. So the 2 car is still going to have a shot at winning this on being on the new tires.
Yeah, freshest tires up front can be leading the charge as Boyd Hogan. Then you also got Tom Drayling, Vincent Arthur. I think Arthur, well, probably one of the luckiest drivers we could have asked for is Vincent Arthur, who is going to be up in 5th place. Almost went a lap down, was challenging to keep himself on the lead lap, and was very successful holding off the 00 of Caden Rush. It's going to be a wild green-white checkered here at Dover for the Soda Guys Cup Series. And, man, it's been a blast to watch. More action from FRN will continue tomorrow, by the way, where we have the Cars Series racing, and that will be tomorrow night here on the Flatout Racing Network's YouTube page.
And Facebook.
Yeah, I believe it will also be on Facebook. And then on Mondays, we have the F1 2020 series going underway for the Slipstream guys. And then we've also got the Monday Night Racing series with a whole bunch of professional guys. They're actually going to be racing with the Porsche series. Those Monday night series, they're fun to watch. They change out the cars that they're running and tracks every single week, so you never know what they're going to be running until a week prior. These drivers are set up.
00 has another blinking issue, and they're calling them out on it.
And they have not given him a penalty for this. They're just letting the Oldar Field and himself know what is going on. The pace car lights are off, I believe, Michael.
Yep.
So
yes,
we're going this time by.
This is going to be a very interesting restart. We're going to see old tires versus new tires. Now, I could see this being a battle between the 24 and the 2 car. It's all going to depend on how quickly these cars can get around the cars with old tires. The 00 could be in the best spot because with the ability to restart this race at any time he wants to, he can pull out to a great lead. The question is, will it be enough to stay away from the drivers off their tires?
Pace car pulls off. Caden Rush leading the way on those older tires. He needs to get going on this green-white checkered. But here comes the 2 of Boyd Hogan with the freshest tires out here. And he's hard charging up front. Here comes Vincent Arthur as well, trying to make the outside work. Boyd Hogan to the point.
Boy, he made that look so easy. And the 00 is not happy that the caution
in the back. Caution in the back. It's going to be Ty McWhorter as well as Tim Williams making contact. And that means we go for a second try at the green-white checker.
Let's see, coming right off the corner. Yep, the 18 car just came right down like as if he wasn't even there. I'm not sure why that happened. But I'll tell you one thing, the driver chat is going absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there were 3, almost 4 wide there, and it was kind of an interesting spot to even make a move like that was made. So a little odd to see that positioning that everyone was put in there, but bringing out our caution here, setting us up for our second attempt at a green-white checker. And Michael, now is the time to start thinking about, what if we only put 1 lap down, but if you're someone that's still trying to get up front, what if you still have an extra pair of tires to put on? Do you put it on now and try to have at least a 1 lap, 2 lap advantage on the cars in front of you?
It's a very interesting strategy, but that's you guys thinking that we'll get a third one. But these drivers, I don't know. This is Boyd Hogan's race now. That 20 that 24 car, he's the next car with fresh tires, but it's just really hard to think about. He's restarting in 4th place, might not have enough time, especially if that 00 does not get a good restart.
Yeah, Vincent Arthur was completely boxed in with drivers that were not letting the 24 go, which I thought he was going to be in the middle of that caution, but it turns out it was further back. So drivers having issues everywhere, but this actually helps Justin Piscota out a ton, who was running back there, actually was almost involved in that accident that you saw in the replay, and will now be restarting with all of the cars on the lead lap up front in the field instead of having to go through the whole entire lap traffic to get up to lead lap machines.
Absolutely. I don't think we'll be seeing any pit stops this time, as I think the 00 might be out of tires, which is probably why he didn't come in with the rest of them.
As well for the 27, he's out of tires as well. So I think the only driver that really has a chance to come in and get another pair of fresh tires could possibly be Vincent Arthur, but he's up in 4th, and if he goes back any further, there is no chance that this 24 will catch up to the 2. There's just not enough difference between the tires that they're on for it to be worth that risk. As right now, cars are stacked up, lights are still on the pace car. But man, Michael, we on that first stop, that first green-white checkered attempt, Boyd Hogan took off, and there was nothing stopping him because of how much of a difference on tires that we were seeing of Boyd Hogan in the 2 and the 00.
Yeah, and it's going to be insane on this restart as well.
Can we see the 24 or the 42 try to get through this field and try their best to challenge Boyd Hogan, or will Boyd Hogan get number 10 of the season? 10 wins this 2 machine has picked up in the regular season. A ton of bonus points going into playoffs, and those playoff bonus points are huge going in to trying to get through each round of the playoffs.
Absolutely. You're going to see here, I'm listening to the chatter, the racing chatter here on our what do they call it, our radio here, and they're really, some people are upset, some people are frustrated, but you can definitely tell the length of this race really setting in for some of these drivers.
The length of the race, and just at the end of these races, Dover is kind of known as a short track in a fashion, in the ways that you have to pass cars and it being a mile long. So tempers will fly here at the Monster Mile, and continuing to see it as the lights are, I believe they're still on, so we'll continue doing pace laps around here. But we got to see a little bit of everything here, Michael. We got to see a little bit of a green flag pit stops. We got to see a lot of early cautions going on. This is caution number 7 of the day. But overall, I think that Dover has not disappointed for us.
Oh no, not at all. It's been a real fun and real pleasure to be here calling this race. I don't usually get the opportunity to, because I actually work on these days, but taking a week off work makes me available to do this, and I'm glad I did, because this race at Dover has been outstanding.
We are very thankful for you copping in for today, Michael. And just to let you know, this isn't the final race of the regular season. That's next week at Daytona. That's going to be a wild card race for the Soda Guys Cup Series. And I'm not surprised that these drivers are kind of getting a little angry and frisky at one another, because they know it's getting so important to have good runs here in these final 2 races, that getting caught up in something like you just saw bringing out this most recent caution, it's frustrating to be a part of.
Absolutely. Pace car lights are off. We're going to get ourselves a restart this time by.
Coming down the back stretch. These drivers getting set up. It's going to be the 2 of Boyd Hogan, the 00 of Caden Rush, and it's going to be Don Collins and Vincent Arthur and Tom Drayling, your top 5. And these top 5 cars, 2 of them are on 36 lap-old tires, while the others only on 1 lap-old tires compared to everyone else. It's, not one, but they've practically only ran 1 green flag on these tires.
Absolutely. They pretty much ran about a lap and a half on these tires almost. So this is going to make things really interesting. I really think this is Boyd Hogan's race, but if that 24 can get clear.
And does. Boyd Hogan completely gone, and I don't think anyone's going to catch him. It's too much of a gap. Another caution might be needed as Vincent Arthur
is still
right stuck. Getting rushed because spinning around. I mean, that's one way to get a car out of the way, I guess.
Absolutely.
As Boyd Hogan hates to see it. But we're going for our third and final attempt. We're going to go back and see what exactly happened to Caden Rush.
But Boyd just ran him over.
But like, let's take a quick replay because we know what happened. Because Vincent Arthur is so much faster. You can get back on and try to move the 00, and instead completely spun him around. Here's the thing, though. In the Soda Guys series, if you cause a caution and spin someone out, you can be given an EOL and be put at the end of the longest line, and we'll have to wait and see what the admins do with that situation. If the 24 gets a penalty that will set him back at the end of the line and cost him all these precious positions that he's in right now. But up front, Boyd Hogan feeling comfortable, feeling confident.
Yeah. A very interesting situation here. Boyd Hogan says he is taking the top lane on this restart.
I think that's a smart choice to do, because he'll have, if Vincent Arthur is still going to be third, he'll be on the inside, and Boyd Hogan isn't going to want to give that advantage to the 24. Keep him on the high side with the 27. That's probably not going to get as great of a launch off because he's on so much older tires. So a great move by Boyd Hogan in that sense, if Vincent Arthur is not able to get going.
We have the 24 and the 00 arguing over the incident.
Which we're not surprised. I think, like we said, it's a short track. The Monster Mile brings out some tempers, kind of like what we see at Bristol and Martinsville.
Absolutely.
We're not used to this at all. Well, Michael, it's going to take a while for these cars to get completely set. We're going to give one last call out to our commercials and all the sponsors that we have here helping us for this broadcast. And when we come back, the final attempt here at Dover for the Soda Guys Cup Series, and we'll be underway here just shortly. Well, it's time for the final attempt here at Dover for the Soda Guys Cup Series. My name is Sam Dyer. I've got Michael Norman with me, and Michael, we were listening into the race admins there on that last caution. Some news was given out for these drivers.
Absolutely. The 00 and 24 car were both given EOL penalties for that. And breaking news on the 00 car, I believe he might have blown up his motor or something in that machine, as he is not really on the racetrack at the moment.
So Caden Rush at the moment in the pit stalls getting that car worked on, but practically he is done for the day. Cannot get it finished in time. This is the one to go. Also 24 of Vincent Arthur going to be starting at the end of the line, so he's out of this. So at this point, we're thinking this could be Boyd Hogan's race. Once we go green here, as the base car lights are off, as we're in turn number 3. This is it, the final attempt. Who's going to win here at Dover? Will it be Boyd Hogan or someone else? As he waits, so Boyd Hogan trying something a little different, now takes off in that 2 machine, going for win number 10 if possible. We're green, final attempt of the green-white checkered here at Dover.
Yes, and he has gone in a way. He has the freshest tires of anybody out there. He managed to save the one set of tires he needed, and no matter what, it's going to be the race win. They're coming around turn number 4, 27 slips up. Here comes the 9. Here comes the 9 of
Joseph Piscota
Joseph
in the 9
Piscota.
machine.
He's going to take over the second position here, the 27 or 24. Back
the 24 car's ready to go. He's running out of time.
He's got 3 wide. He's got nowhere to go. As coming off the final corner, it's going to be Boyd Hogan scoring his 10th win of the season. Boyd Hogan wins at Dover.
Wins at Dover, and coming in second, going to be Joseph Piscota. Third is going to be Tom Drayling, who's just been lingering around in that top 5 position ever since he got those fresh tires, and a great run on his part. But the 24 making contact with the 11 trying to get by, did not do so. But sad days for the 27 of Dalton Collins, who got spun around off the exit of the corner. But car that's excited for a win. He's done it already 9 times before. Now he gets to do it for the 10th time this season. Gets to burn it down. Boyd Hogan in the 2. That Penske machine's loving victory lane.
Absolutely.
Well, Michael, it took us 3 attempts of the green-white checkered, and it finally finished under green. The 2 of Boyd Hogan gets the win here today. As he's burning it down, we'll look at the results here today. I mean, the 2 Boyd Hogan, a class act on his part, saving the tires for the final green-white checkered was a massive advantage over everyone else, as he thought maybe Caden Rush or even Dalton Collins had this, but they just did not have any tires left due to the fact that we had the 5-tire limit here today. Piscota is going to be getting second, Drayling, Butcher Benjamin, Vincent Arthur, Dalton Collins, Ty McWhirter, John Mullins, Caden Rush, and Chris Nobles, your top 10. And yes, you see that right. Only our top 6 were able to stay on the lead lap, as under what would have been our final green flag pit stops, a caution came out that set everyone 1 lap down.
Absolutely, it's incredible.
And then you see at 11, Tim Williams, James Love, Chad Gunsman, and the rest of the drivers that were not able to finish out this race because of a engine or other issues on this racetrack. And then finishing out the racing results was Matt Knight, who did not even take the green here today. But Boyd Hogan gets the win and loving it as he'll continue on this victory spree he has. As we're waiting to see from drivers.
We've got our race winner in second place in here already.
Yeah, we'll start it off with second place of Joseph Piscota in the 9, who really had one of the days of just wait and see what happens. Joseph, you got us in the booth. It's Sam and Michael.
Yeah, I got you. Man,
a second place finish for yourself, and I think you got to give credit to having tires at the end for that finish.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When we got the lucky dog, we had 1 set left, and we came down pit road and we adjusted to try to trick it out as much as we can. We had a little bit of damage, but we had some RPMs and we tricked it out and went out there and somehow got second. That was a crazy ending.
I mean, we saw that you were trying. I mean, points wise, you've been trying to run down Vincent Arthur all season long, and you were just behind him all race long. On those final green white checkers, what was your mentality going on while you were setting up for those green white checkers?
Yeah, I just got back on the lead lap. I thought maybe I can get fifth. That was my goal. The first one there was a wreck and I got a little damage, but we were able to not have too much damage, so we just stayed out. And once we got into fifth, I thought, I mean, we couldn't complain. We were in the back most of the race, so I was happy with that. But after that whole incident and everything that happened, we restarted P4, and I was just hoping I can get at least P3, and we were able to get second there. So that was great. I mean, we worked on the car so much, so I got to thank everybody who did that.
And Michael, you got any questions for Joseph?
No, I mean, that was a heck of a run that you guys had, and with all the melee that happened in those last 50 laps, man, it's good to see you pull off a second place. Just what was going through your head with within those final 50 laps and everything that started happening around the end?
Yeah, we got caught out on some strategy we tried to pull there because of a caution, and I was just trying to get everything that I could out of it. Any position I know helps going points wise, so I was just trying to do that, and eventually everything just started to play out, and we were able to get more spots and more spots and more spots. And I wasn't really trying to push my luck too much, but when I got the lucky dog, I knew I had one set of tires left. I think more than the rest of the guys, so I definitely threw those on there, and we did a lot of adjustments to swing the car and just hope for the best. And I think we got the best we can get other than a win. So I'm pretty proud of the guys, pretty proud of the effort.
Well, Joseph, before we go, I got one last question for you, and that's we're going to Daytona next week. It's going to be a wild card, and you're just at the bubble of with where you finished, putting you inside the top 16. But if someone outside of the top 16 gets a win, they could push you out. Are you still feeling the pressure going into Daytona, trying to get a win?
I mean, I've been trying to play catch up the whole season. So, I mean, I've been feeling pressure every week, and every week we're just trying to get a little bit better and put ourselves in a good spot to do well. But like you said, Daytona's really wild. No one really can predict what's going to happen. My goal in it is just going to try to be there at the end, and just, I mean, at that point, you just got to hold your breath and hope for the best. But if I can just position myself, to not be in any wrecks and be there at the end, I think that's the best shot you can give us, because anything can happen.
Well, again, before we let you go, we're going to give the floor off to you there, Joseph, for any shout-outs you got.
Yeah, I got to thank, Soda Guys, veterans of Foreign Wars, Shorbers Racing Graphics, FSM Customs, and Abiding Love Memorial Urns for putting on a good, good league. And I got to thank you guys for doing your job, because you guys do a great job. So.
Well, that's Joseph Piscota in the 9 Machine getting second here today. We'll see where he finishes next week to make it and see if the 9 Machine can make it into the playoffs. And next up, we're actually going to be bringing in our race winner, Boyd Hogan. And we'll see what the 2 has for us. Boyd, it's Sam and Michael up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Well, this is number 10 for you, but it came with a little bit of strategy at the end with having tires when everyone else didn't.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to bank on these late race yellows at the end of these races, and luckily, strategy kind of fell right into place.
Yeah, I mean, Boyd, we saw that you were part of the top 3 cars that were always up front. When things started to shuffle up, though, with everyone off sequence so much in the middle of this race, did you feel like you were still in a comfortable position to win this thing if it went green?
Absolutely, the car was on a rail. This is by far one of the best cars I've brought here to the league, and I had no doubts all week long. I told you guys at Daytona to get ready, and I did what I told you guys we were gonna do, and we got number 10.
Yeah, I know we saw the one incident that you had where your car wasn't on rails, and that was when you were chasing down Caden Rush. What happened with you entering turn number 1 where your car just shot up in the track?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess Dover's kind of got the same problem that Bristol does on the sim, where you touch the wall even just the slightest little bit, and I don't. Looking at the replay, it wasn't even my car that touched it. It was just the tire, and it bounced me down off sideways into the 1 and 2. I'm lucky I could have saved it, but I mean, I was just sitting there waiting, biding my time because he was getting so loose off, and I mean, I don't know if you guys rode on the in car at all, but I was still clutching it with about 10, 15 to go, just waiting on him to slip up and get the drive off, because I mean, I watched how he was racing earlier. I knew he was gonna, I knew he was gonna race hard for it. That's kind of how Caden and I've always kind of been with each other, and I don't expect anything less. So, obviously, it was gonna be a good race coming down to the end, and would have liked for the lag to never happen, and obviously would have liked to just race it out at the end there because I definitely feel like we had the best car here. But you take them every way you can get them, and to be totally honest with you guys, I mean, if you ask anybody who runs this league, they're kicking me out for winning anyway. So I'm just gonna keep on doing that, and however they happen, that's how it's gonna be, and I'm not gonna feel bad about it. We got number 10, and by the end of the season, I want to be at 15 or 16, and that's how it's gonna be because I guess we're in a competitive series where you're not allowed to be competitive. So we're gonna go win every one of these, go win a championship, and that'll be it.
Well, Michael, you got
Absolutely.
any questions there for Boyd?
No, I mean you've asked them all that I had, so it was just a good win. Boyd, I'm gonna turn the floor over to you and thank anybody you need to.
Yeah, I got to thank Kale Gale first and foremost. The man, obviously in real life, has quite the pedigree for being quite the setup guy. We missed it a little bit earlier on in the week. Just kind of struggled a little bit on the long run, and I think Wednesday or Thursday, we went to work on the car, and it's been on a rail in A Open, NIS, and here tonight. So got to thank Kale for the help on the setup for sure. Probably wouldn't have won this without him, and everybody obviously on Legacy Esports, Slip Angle, Judd at a Bruzy. I'm sorry if I've sounded at all like a douche in this interview, but I'm gonna stand up for what I believe in, and I'm here to win. So
Well, that's
shout out.
Boyd Hogan in the number 2 machine, and Boyd, a first place finish that. Again, for the 10th time this season, it's been a dominating run for you. I know you're one of our favorites to win the championship for this season, and good luck next week at Daytona because that's gonna be a wild one.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy for sure, Sam. Also want to thank you guys obviously for putting on a great show like you always do every week. I know some of these races are just they're wild, and Daytona's not going to be anything less. But like I say, ready to go win a championship, and you know, um, thanks to everybody involved here.
That's Boyd Hogan in the 2 machine. Gets it done here at Dover. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, Michael, it was a wild race all day long. We really didn't know who was going to win it until we saw what the tires were going to be at the end of this race. And Boyd Hogan had the freshest tires, which gifted him the win practically here at the end.
Absolutely, it was incredible. It was fun to watch and action packed.
Very much action packed, and I know the driver's going to have fun in the haulers with all the different wrecks we saw there at the end. But the action doesn't end for these Soda Gas series. It's only the second to last race. Next week at Daytona, we get to figure out who is going to be our top 16 going into the playoffs. It's going to be a wild one for sure. I like calling it the wild card track going to Super Speedway race to end off the regular season. And Michael, thank you for coming on board here tonight. What are some of your final thoughts here at Dover?
Yeah, it was really fun, and I'm so glad I got to be a part of it, man. It was just real fun and action packed and a thriller, even with all of the drama involved. It just made it for even better racing, and I can't wait for it to continue.
It's going to be a great time. Once again, Soda Guys Series next week at Daytona, and I can't wait to watch it and be a part of it. My name is Sam Dyer. Got Michael Norman with me here today. You guys got to watch a presentation of the Flatout Racing Network, and have a great rest of your night as more FRN action tomorrow for cars. And then after that on Monday, you've got F1 2020 with Slipstream as well as the Monday night racing Monday night. Have a great rest of your night and good night.